It devastated me. I was lost, I went astray. I was mad at God, but He saved me, came and got me. He never left, I left Him.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Souls Right House Empowerment Center. And as you all know, we always have an amazing guest every week that comes on our show, and we like to spread the love because we are authors saving souls with books. So I am happy to introduce our current author. His name is Gary Lindberg. You can find him on Facebook as well. It's Gary R. Lindberg Books. So make sure that you check him out, and you cannot say that I did not tell you. So, Mr. Gary, how are we doing today?
Well, Sherry Levon, thank you. I am doing very well, and I appreciate you taking time to talk with me. My name is Gary R. Lindberg. I'm originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And after I was close to 7 years old, my parents decided to move to California, Santa Maria, California, about halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Wow.
And there I went through the different elementary schools and up through high school. And after I graduated, I went on to the University of California at Berkeley, where I majored in U.S. history. And as I neared the end of my studies at Cal, I was going to be subject to the draft. And in those days, the 1960s, we still had the draft. And then I decided what's his name? President Kennedy's brother-in-law came to Cal for the fall semester. He gave a very good presentation about the Peace Corps and why should you enroll or apply to the Peace Corps. And I thought, well, they probably wouldn't choose me, so I don't need to worry about it. And then he came back in the spring semester, and he again was very impressive. And I thought, well, maybe this time I should listen to Sergeant Shriver, Kennedy's brother-in-law. And so I decided I'd challenge him. I didn't think he'd choose me, but I applied anyway. But the semester ended and I graduated. And so because I was facing the draft, I had to figure out something to do before serving in the Air Force. And so I went to Vandenberg Air Force Base, about 25 miles away from Santa Maria, to spend most of the day there and in my application process. And then when I got home, about just before dinner time, and I found that there was a manila envelope on the kitchen dining table, and it was from the Peace Corps. And wow. I took one look at that envelope, and my mother said, "Well, you're not going to do that, are you?" And I hadn't even opened up the envelope, and I said, "Oh yes, I will."
Yeah.
I guess that was my rebellion. I don't know. Anyway, I did, and I went to UCLA for training for several months, and I was invited to a health education project because they also were asking towards the end of our training, which was very intensive, if anyone wanted to volunteer for a special trial school gardens program. And I said I would be willing, but I really wanted to do the health education project. So we flew to Abidjan, the capital of the Ivory Coast then, and we did our 2-day orientation. And when towards the end of that, they made the assignments, and I was assigned to the school gardens program.
Nice.
Well, at first I was very disappointed, but then I warmed up to it because agriculture was the #1 industry for the Ivory Coast. And one of the things they were trying to do was stop the rural exodus by young people who would go to the cities, like happened in Nigeria, and they wouldn't have any jobs. They wouldn't have anything to do. So it was not a good, healthy situation. So the Ivory Coast was trying to prevent that from happening. And so then I was delighted I was part of the program, and I continued my 2.5 years, actually, since I extended my service 6 months. And then I finished and that's where you get that the Vegetable Grows and the Lion Roars book from. And so I finished the Ivory Coast, and I traveled through Europe and went through a half a dozen different countries there, Italy, Germany, France, England, and the Netherlands, and then went home. But before I left France, I got a phone call from my mother, who said, I've got this letter. It looks like it's important. And I said, well, I'm in Paris, so please read it to me, because I can't read it. And so she opened it up, and the first word she said was, greetings. Instantly, I knew that was a draft notice. I was being drafted. So I asked her, when do I have to report? And she told me, and I promptly forgot it, and went on to England and the Netherlands. And I arrived home on a Thursday afternoon. It was about like 4 o'clock, so it was too late to go to the Air Force or any other recruiters. But the next morning, Friday morning, I showed up early at the Air Force recruiter and said, sign me up. I didn't ask, what programs do you have? What kind of training are you going to give me? What are you going to do for me? I'm ready to go right now. Sign me up. And he said, sorry, our quota is full. I said, uh-oh. So then I ran over to the Navy recruiter, and I did the same thing. The Navy is known for good programs and good training. So I didn't ask for any of that. Sign me up. I'm going now. And they said, sorry, our quota is full. But let me call the recruiter in the nearby city, San Luis Obispo, and see if they have an opening. I heard they might still have an opening. And so he called up the recruiter in San Luis and found out there was an opening. And I said, great, I'm going. Let's go. And the fun thing was that I had to report exactly 1 week later to Los Angeles Center, where I was supposed to go for the Army. And I said, well, please, Navy, you got to tell the Army that I'm not AWOL. I'm not illegal. I'm actually here to report to the Navy. And they said, don't worry about it. We'll take care of it. And, to this day, they haven't come to arrest me for being AWOL. So I guess the Navy gave them the message. So after that, I went on to serve my Navy term for 4 years. And then I graduated from San Francisco State with my Master of Business Administration degree, and started my 43-year career in human resources.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of my life.
43. You know what's so powerful? You mentioned the number 7, and then you did 43 years, and 4 and 3 is 7. That's completion. So the number 7, I'm a numbers girl. God deals with me with numbers. And you was talking about that 1 week later, you got drafted, and that was the number 7. And if you really look at that, your life started with a 7, and it ended with a 7. So you did 43 years, and 4 and 3 is 7. So see, it started and ended with the same number.
How about that?
About that. Hey, y'all people on Kingdom Purpose TV, I'm a numbers girl, believe me. But 7 in the Bible represents completion. So that's very powerful. And you did exactly what you were supposed to do. Now, this book, The Vegetable Grows and the Lion Roars, very awesome title. What gave you that title? How did you come up with that title?
Well, my project was to advise teachers and elementary school children how to grow vegetables in a tropical climate, because it's what you do in a tropical climate is very different than what you might do in the San Francisco Bay Area where I am. Sure. But there you had some very important techniques to use, and so I was teaching those, and so that's where the vegetable grows part of the title comes in. And then I was traveling around West and East Africa, and I went to the safaris in East Africa and saw all the wild animals, and went to Timbuktu in West Africa, and Nigeria, toured all around Nigeria. And so the lion roars is kind of an allusion to my travels and the other activities I did besides the Peace Corps work.
Oh wow! So I used to have students that didn't think Timbuktu was a real place. They were like, Timbuktu, that's a cartoon character. I'm like, no, Timbuktu is somewhere real in Africa. So that's awesome. So how was the people over there? Like a lot of times people's when you go over to Africa, a lot of people, there's very many places to go in Africa, just like in the United States, we have all these different states, but it's amazing over there that there's different countries, just like how we have different states, they have different nationalities, they all speak different languages. You think just because you say Africa, they all speak the same and live in the same place. And how was it there? Like, how was their living there?
Their living was very different, and depending on whatever country you were in, the people were everywhere were very, very nice. I found that when I was in Ghana, people were very nice. In fact, they'd come up to me, even in Nigeria as well. They'd come up to me and say, "Where are you going? Can I show you where that is?" And they'd go across town to show me where I was going to go. I don't know what they had to do, but they had other business, but they'd show me. They were very, very nice. And when I was in the Ivory Coast, they would treat me very well, and they would invite me to dinners and lunches, and it was they were so warm and wonderful. When I was working in my village, Deoeplu, they were treating me like like family. It was wonderful.
Wow. Our church here, Honey Rock Victorious Church, does a lot of mission work, and we go over there, Ghana, Haiti, and it's just amazing. We actually have built some wells. We found water over there, and you can go to honeyrockhrvci.org and learn some of the things that our mission groups have done over there. But we're actually building wells because them ladies carry water on their head. Miles and miles and miles. When their water runs out, they go to reservoirs and bring water back to their families, and then when it dries out, and you got to think about that. We're so spoiled over here. We take advantage of water, but water is so essential, and we're made up of water. So water is so important. And so it blessed me that we had a mission team go over there, Fruit of the Spirit, and they found water. They found wells. So we're building schools and high schools, and I'm just so blessed with our mission team through our church. So when you went over there and some of the things that you had been doing, and when you wrote this book, what is this book detailing? Like, what are some of the things that you're talking about in this book?
Well, I'm giving you a full compliment of I start off with why I applied for the Peace Corps, how that process went, what the training was in UCLA, how we were learning all the ways to teach health education, and how we were actually practicing it at Tuba City in Arizona, digging latrines and so forth, and then I talk about the travels when I got to the Ivory Coast. One of the stories I had was that when I was traveling to the Ivory Coast, my mother suggested that I should learn how to drink coffee, but I don't like coffee, or didn't like coffee, and so it was so bitter to me. And she said, "Well, the Ivory Coast is the third world's greatest coffee producer, so you should learn to drink coffee." And I said, "Oh, I'm never going to work. That's never going to work for me." And so on the plane going over, I said, I've got to learn how to drink coffee. And I tried it then and it didn't work. And so then I got to the Ivory Coast, and they are the world's third greatest coffee producer after Brazil and Colombia. But they also, when they serve coffee, they served it in a large bowl, and it filled it up with coffee, and I added cream and sugar. So I said, "This is my way of drinking coffee. I have coffee with my cream and sugar. Yes. This is the right way." And the book, I go on to explain what I did with my school gardens project, and how I worked with them, and how I traveled to East Africa first. Oh, first of all, I went to Nigeria, all around Nigeria, just a big circle and a whole place. And then I went to East Africa and went to several game reserves like Nairobi National Park and Amboseli and Serengeti. And then we had a little bit of an incident where one of the ladies that I was working with, actually, when I got there, I didn't know exactly what I was going to do or where I was going to go. But these ladies decided they wanted to ask me to go with them. There's 4 ladies, and they asked me to, because I was a guy, so they didn't know anything about cars, so they wanted me to go with them. I tried to tell them I don't know anything about cars, and they said, "Well, we want you anyway." So I went with them. After going to Serengeti, we were driving away back to a different location, and Ngorongoro Crater was one place we were interested in. And on the way, one of the ladies was very interested in going to Olduvai Gorge, which is where Leakey discovered at that time, the oldest remains of humanity. And so we saw this little sign, as you know, a square foot sign. It wasn't very big at all. And it said Olduvai Gorge left. So we pulled off the main road, which wasn't, a graded road, not a paved road. And this other little road was just a little village, country kind of road. And our car overheated, and that's a long story. I won't give you the whole story. You can see it, read it in the book. But the car overheated, and we had no water, and we had to find water. And so we hiked away to find water. And when I was in Nigeria, I bought 2 Fulani knives. They're about a foot long, 2 of them. I put one on one side of my belt and the other on the other side of the belt. And this is what I was going to use if we encountered a lion, because we were finding all these wild animals. So we didn't know what we were going to find or who was going to find us. So we traipsed, another girl and I traipsed around trying to find water. And we went towards Olduvai Gorge, we thought. And we got to a sign after several miles, I guess. And it said another 5 miles to Olduvai Gorge. Well, we turned around and went back because it was too far and too out in the open, and we didn't know if we'd find our way back to the car. So we luckily did. And then we found a Maasai warrior, or herdsman, I should say, nearby where we were. And there were 2 of them, actually. And one of the girls had an English Swahili dictionary. She opened it up to the word water. And so we walked up to the guy and said, in our best Swahili, we never heard the word of Swahili before, but we're going to say our Swahili, and we're going to say water. So we pronounce it as best we can. He doesn't move. He doesn't recognize what we're saying. Apparently, finally, we started negotiating a price. So I guess he got something out of that. And so when we finished with that, he started charging off. And so we had a half a dozen of these little Coke bottles, these 6-ounce Coke bottles, the shapely little Coke bottle. And we put those in a bag and started running after him. And he was moving fast. He wasn't waiting for us. And this other girl and I went, and he finally stopped. And he stopped in the middle of nowhere. And it's getting dark now, so we're getting a little worried. This is dinner time. So we didn't want to be dinner, if you know what I mean. So we got to where the guy was standing, and it was a little mud hole, just a little puddle, not even a puddle. And we dipped our Coke bottles. It's hard to dip a Coke bottle into the muddy water and get more water than you get mud. And so we scooped up the water as best we could, drove back out to or walked back to the car, and poured this mud and water into our radiator. And then we got in the car and drove back to the main road. We were like about 10 miles away from the main road, and the car started overheating again. And I said, I'm not going to stop I don't care what happens to the car. I am not stopping. So we get back to the main road. We get turned left. We're on our way, and somebody spotted a corral up on the right side of the road, and the area was kind of slopey, so it was not evenly flat. It was up a slope, and so we drove up to next to the corral, and there were a bunch of herdsmen there with their cattle, and they put this thorny corral around it to protect themselves from the wild animals. And so we pulled off to the left side of it from as we're facing it, and they motioned us to come around to the right side. So we walked over to the right side. They pulled out a section of the thorny fence that they had and invited us in. And we, in our best Swahili again, we're saying water. Well, this time they kind of heard. I guess they understood. So they gave us all the water we wanted, and they filled our radiator up. It was good. I just was sorry that we had so much mud in the water, but from the previous time. But anyway, we drove back and we got back all right. But that was one of the stories I had.
That is amazing. As you all guys know, we always do a soul message from God, and we're going to come right back with our special guest, Mr. Gary. You guys stay tuned. This man is amazing. Y'all stay tuned.
Don't stop dreaming, because you are good enough with Him. Don't give up, keep trying, keep writing. Don't separate yourself, because you are good enough. Yeah. You could be with anybody that you want, but you won't be. Oh, baby, I know God said it to me. I love His loyalty to me. Oh, that loyalty to me. I love the way you walk and how you go after the thing you want, and it happens to be me. Oh, Jesus, running after me, 'cause I know your loyalty to me. I love your loyalty to me. I ran.
Hey, I love loyalty. Yes. Welcome back, you guys. This is Sherry LaVon and our special guest, Mr. Gary Lindberg. And this has been such a pleasure. It seems like 30 minutes just goes by so fast when you're talking. We do a talk show, though. We do a radio show every Sunday at 4. And on Sundays, we're actually on for an hour. And so this will be played on our podcast show, and we'll actually do some clippets on our radio show. So let people know in our last few minutes let people know where they can purchase your book.
Well, you can purchase my book, or anybody can, by going to my website, GaryRLindberg.com. That's GaryRLindberg.com. And you will find the button for your favorite online bookstore at that location.
You better know it.
If you want to write me, you can write me at Gary Lindberg 85 gmail.com. Gary Lindberg 85 at gmail.com. And you can write me at anything you want, and I'll be happy to try to answer if you like me to.
Hey, so you guys, God is so amazing with everything that He does in our life, and we are authors that are saving souls. So it just blesses me, as you can see here, We have him. His book is now available. So you guys make sure that you get this book. I know I'm going to get my copy. Gary, we want to thank you so much for being on our show. We will be on Kingdom Purpose TV going live nationwide this coming Wednesday at 11 p.m. So I will make sure I send you links. And to those of you all that are watching, you know that you can go on all your streaming devices. That's Roku, Applecast, Googlecast. You also can watch it from your phone or from computers at kingdompurposetv.com. So this coming Wednesday, 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're going to get to see this video. And also, we're going to be able to see him nationally all over the world with over 30 million viewers that watch Kingdom Purpose TV. And if you happen to miss him this coming Wednesday at 11 o'clock, you can always go back to the Kingdom Purpose TV channel and go to the On Demand, look for Soul's Right House, and guess what? You can go back and watch this interview at any time. So, Mr. Gary, once again, let everybody know where you're from.
I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I want to thank you, Sherry Levon, for the time you've taken to allow me to be with you and talk about my book. And if anybody's interested in my other book, God's Existence, Truth or Fiction, The Answer Revealed, it's also on my website, GaryRLindberg.com. But thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
It devastated